Good morning and welcome. I'm Sherry Renee and I'm super excited that you're able to join me this morning. So, this morning's topic is about permission. I find it so funny because originally it was going to be about happiness. And then I realized that I wasn't feeling very happy, to be honest. And I started to think about should I go ahead and do the topic on happiness because certainly that's what I'm working on. I could throw out a whole lot of things around it. But I realized that I wasn't happy. I was not feeling happy. I wasn't experiencing happiness. So why am I going to do a topic on happiness? Just because I had decided earlier this morning that I was going to do it on happiness. But honestly, it's about permission. So today's topic is about permission. And permission to be exactly where you are, wherever that may be. Because one thing I do know is that what we resist persists. So here I am. If I want to do a topic on happiness, but I'm not feeling very happy, then there's something misaligned, and out of alignment comes inauthenticity. And it would be very inauthentic for me to right now be doing a talk about happiness when I'm not feeling super happy. So what I wanted to do and what I needed to do and what I gave myself the gift of is permission. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about happiness this morning was because I realized something about when I was seeing clients and even in myself that we don't give ourselves permission to be happy. But what I realized this morning is we don't give ourselves permission to just to be whatever it is that we are in that present moment. And then when we resist it, it continues to perpetuate itself because we're resisting giving ourselves permission to be where we are. So sometimes we're in a place where we're feeling a little bit blah. And this morning I felt a little blah. And I wanted to give myself permission to be that. And it ended up that until I gave myself permission to be exactly where I was, everything was lagging. Time was ticking by and I was getting more and more annoyed until I sat in the moment where I said, you know what? I'm just feeling blah. So why not do a topic on permission? Giving ourselves permission to be exactly where we are. You know, there have been times in my life where I've felt sad and I've had to fake it until I make it and go out there and pretend that I wasn't feeling sad. And the reality of it was it just perpetuated my sadness. So if we could stop, take a breath, be fully present in our experience and give ourselves full permission to be where we are, then whatever that experience is, if it's not something that we want, it just allows it to dissipate. And then we can, from a place of nothingness, decide and make a conscious choice to be whatever it is that we want to be. So we actually aren't anything solid at all. We can change our way of being at any given moment once we decide to give ourselves permission to be where we are. Then we pick up where we leave off. We say, okay, right now I feel a little blah. So, that's okay. I give myself full permission to be blah. And I'll share that. So now I want to be happy. So now I get to be that. And I can choose to be that in every single moment. I wanted to share an experience that I had about 2 years ago that I was in spiritual practice and I was coming out of spiritual practice and, like the actual practical part of spiritual practice. And I stood up and I gazed out my window. And when I did, I happened to notice that all of the grass looked greener and everything appeared to be a lot brighter. And I found that so fascinating because what I realized was in my state of consciousness, which was just coming out of spiritual practice where I had experienced a consciousness of bliss. And from the lens of bliss, everything looked brighter. And when I noticed that, I also noticed that there was something inside of myself that was asking my higher presence. I call it God. You call it anything you want, whatever that higher source is. And I know that in my mind, I was asking that higher presence, am I allowed to be this happy? And simultaneous to that was yes. But I also realized that we must be asking ourselves this question somewhere in the background all of the time. Am I allowed to be? Am I allowed to be? And we're answering ourselves with either a yes or a no. So my invitation to everyone is to give ourselves permission to be exactly where we are in the moment, but then choose where we want to be next. And notice ourselves giving ourselves permission to be that, and then to be that, and then to be that, and allowing whatever state of consciousness we are currently in to either perpetuate it or to give ourselves permission to shift it. And it's only done with our own permission. So my invitation to all of us today is to give yourself permission to be exactly the imperfect, perfect human being that you are right now. Namaste.